Your music.
Better mental health.
Only on
That's right,
IPL
listening to
Radio.
IPL Radio, and it's Mish on Good Vibrations this afternoon. Hello, all the Facebook Live listeners and watchers. Wave, everybody. Hello. I've got a full studio in this afternoon, which is fantastic. I have Brother Francis Mary with me. He is the founder of the Franciscans of the Cross, which is very exciting.
Thank you.
John's with me, and Tia is also with me. They've come in and driven him in today. Is that right? Excellent. Now, it's very obviously you're a monk.
Oh, well, actually, we're referred to as friars.
Friars.
Yeah, we're not monks. Monks live
What's
generally.
the difference?
Well, a monk generally would live in a sort of more of an enclosed space, monastery.
Okay.
And he would be directed
Isolated.
No, he'd be with his community. He'd go out and do his work sometimes, but he'd be more in the space of more prayer and saying the office. So our work as Saint Francis envisaged was we go out into the community.
Yep.
We live in the community.
That's the difference.
We talk and are with people in the community of all walks of life. So we're friars.
What faith is it?
Our what faith?
Yeah.
Well, the traditions sits within the Roman Catholic Church, and Bishop, the Auxiliary Bishop Donald Sproxton is our one of our spiritual directors, and we established this community, the Franciscans of the Cross, in 2014.
Okay.
But the vision started back in 2000 when I was in Assisi, at Assisi in the north of Italy. I went on a pilgrimage, and that's when it started. So I've been wearing the habit since 2000.
Since 2000. Excellent. Because that's the next question I was going to ask.
I've got 3 brown ones and 3 white ones. I wear the white ones to India.
I swear that's why they're brown, because you don't wash them. Tell me a little bit more about what the Franciscans of the Cross do, because as you say, they're part of the community. What do they do on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, that would be lovely to share. In all of our works, we open in prayer, and one of the loveliest prayers from St. Francis is, "Make me a channel of your peace." And where there is suffering and where there is hopelessness, let me have love within that. So even with this little podcast, we pray that those that are listening and watching us receive a spirit of peace in this time. The Franciscan vision started, of course, with St. Francis back in the 13th century. And his vision as a young man, as a wealthy, sort of privileged young man, was his call was to, he saw it as to rebuild the church at the time, and he thought initially it was actually to rebuild a building.
Where was this?
A church in Italy. We're in the north of Italy, up in Assisi. And St. Francis, he's the patron saint of animals, and much loved and well known globally. And his vision, he thought, was to rebuild the little church, but the deeper part of his vision was to rebuild community, like you do with this public health thing. His God's vision, the vision God placed within him was to go out into the world, to come away from the monastic walls and to just be with people every day, and to just not necessarily preach to them or not necessarily convert them, but to just bring them a message of hope. And that hope is that your life can be okay if you're prepared to look at it, and if you're prepared to change a few things. I had the same call in 2000 at Assisi, and then when I started living the life of a lay Franciscan, and then when I came back to Australia, eventually received the habit in 2014. And this is a symbol of our work as Franciscans. If you see anybody dressed like this, they're not Obi-Wan Kenobis. The kids think I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. They think I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I say, well, maybe I am, and I bring up this. I say, where's my lightsaber?
Has it got a hood on?
Yeah, I got the hoodie thing, and the kids all laugh, but it's a lovely way of connecting with everyone, because it's not the normal thing you wear today.
You do wear underwear under that.
I'm not telling you. Would a Scotsman tell you what he wore under the
well, I don't know. It depends.
Well,
which
if you really would like.
That's okay. But you don't wear this. You don't wear this all the time, right?
Well, I wear it a lot of the time when I'm in overseas, or when I'm sort of at mass, or when I'm officiating somehow. I do wear it, and then when that's not happening, I just wear a pair of tracksuit pants and just a top.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Francis was about keeping it all simple.
That's the whole point.
Keep it simple,
That's
mate.
the whole point.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to relearn that, because our lives have got so complicated, but we've made them complicated.
Well, we don't. People don't find time just to sit quietly.
No.
Francis was big on just sit. Just breathe, just connect. You don't have to be doing. You don't have to be in jobs you hate, with people you don't particularly like, doing things that you're bored with. He brought us back to be more conscious about how what we're doing and how we're doing things.
Yeah.
So the foundation started in 2014, and we're now in Sri Lanka.
Wow.
We have a lovely work there, and we're also in Bangladesh. We've got a great little work there, and we're also in Kenya, and we're also in Pakistan, in Tanzania, and a lot of the work here in Fremantle is through providing support financially to the women. I have a particular ministry to the women here, and I'm looking for volunteers to assist me in that ministry to women.
Excellent.
And remember, it's not about conversion or making you anything. It's just providing care and respect, really, because Francis was inclusive too. He had this idea that everyone's welcome.
That's wonderful.
You're welcome. And the final judgment on all of this is not him. So all of that judgment's been taken away from me too, which is great. Doesn't judge anybody. Whatever. Those vows are great. Whatever. They're your thing, but they don't have to be my thing.
No, that's right.
For us to still get on,
Yeah.
So we're calling at the moment for volunteers. We've had some go through, and we have some volunteers assisting us in these countries. The lovely thing about it, though, we have a tremendous board that we've established here,
that concrete,
and we've received some grants already.
Wonderful.
And we have all the policies set up already.
That's hard work.
It's taken. Look, honestly, our foundation was established in 2014, but really the better part of our work's been over the last 5 years.
Okay.
But having the policies in place around slavery, around sexual abuse, having policies around good behaviour, good moral conduct, they took a lot of writing, and we eventually submitted them to the Australian Charities Commission, and we got accepted and approved. So
are those policies used around the world or only in Australia?
Those policies are used in all of our centres, but they're policies written on policies.
Yeah.
But into our policies, we've sort of put the gospel we've featured the gospel a bit more, like around love, respect, So our policies are all in place. So we're now ready to receive more volunteers for our work. And I'm looking for women to assist me in the women's. And it's really interesting that a man's doing it. People say, well, how come you're doing it? You're not a woman. And I go, well, a woman just called to do it. What does it matter?
So I need to ask you, why are you in Fremantle?
I ended up, for some reason, God's placed me in Fremantle. I have a little unit there, Homes West unit, very simple, 2-bedroom. We provide support and friendship to people there, and Fremantle seems to be. Fremantle's got such a need too. Like, people think Fremantle doesn't function so well all the time. I'm in an area of the cold stores where I've got lots of crystal meth addicts around me. I've got people that are homeless, of course, people that are displaced, just miserable. So I'm in the best spot.
That's great.
For instance, I would like to live in Claremont.
But they have their troubles.
If anybody's got a
as
place in Claremont, I do need to have holidays now and again. So if anybody's got
Kenya, Sri Lanka.
I don't know whether they are.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what you do, because I know John and Tia have put their name down. They're going to go as volunteers to go away.
Yes.
Where are you guys going? Have you decided?
We'll start in Sri Lanka. Then we might go to Bangladesh, then Pakistan.
Wow. What does it entail? Tell me about that.
Well,
for someone who is interested in maybe doing that.
This is going to be interesting.
I
told them exactly what they could possibly do.
Because my husband and I are at the age where our kids have gone, we're financial, we can have time off work.
You're financial.
Yeah.
You can leave a nice donation for our work. I'm asking for money all the time, guys, as you
So
all
are
know.
we. So are we. We're desperate in here. But anyway, for someone who might have a little bit of an inkling of doing that, because I think we're ready in our lives to be able to help.
Beautiful.
What would we be doing?
We're still learning. Even on a conversation when we're driving in here, Brother Francis was discussing what we will be doing, and what we love was we're going to be right in there with the families, visiting families, children, which we both love, going in there to the children, to the schools, and just being there for them. Right. And as Father Francis said, giving them hope, giving them another way of looking at things, but also, as he said, you can shout the whole village out for a feast for $50. So once a week we go, everyone, food's on us, and we get the benefits of seeing these wonderful countries, which we most probably wouldn't have gone to. No. Not doing the tourist thing, you know. We're over tourist things, meeting the people one-on-one, and also with the backing of the Brother Francis network that he's got, that will take us to places, take us around, introduce us. We're going to be sharing our sound that we did, taking our didgeridoos and other things
they'll
with
love
us.
That. Yeah.
And what else, huh?
Yeah, what we're also talking about was we'll be taking to an orphanage with 30 children, and I was to me that's really appealing to go to a place like that as well.
I love that.
And the really nice thing about it too is that we can hold in our mind an idea while we're doing it. Theo and John are going to go, well, we'd like to go for these reasons. But what often happens is the real reason will emerge, and that's where it's sort of left to, spirit, the source, I've got an idea, I want to do this for this, and this. Because we're now fairly well organised and we have in place all the protocols, we can support you and assist you in this, and this. Yet, what is the real reason for these two going? Okay. What changes need to still come about in them?
Okay.
And what gifts they have, which are not necessarily used here, to the deepest level, will be used there. Yeah, so it's a very enriching. That word's been done empowering. It's empowering and enriching, but it requires the trips to these countries require a certain spirit within a person. You have to be well. You've got to be healthy. Jonathan, they walk. You've got to be healthy because there's lots of walking. You've got to be able to encounter difference and not be overwhelmed too much by it, because it can overwhelm you. Absolutely. You can go up into the mountain tea growing areas of Sri Lanka and still meet people with leprosy, and your compassion is touched with that. Bangladesh particularly is very sorrowful, and then you can go across to even Kenya, where we have a work where people, the children there in our school and that. But you've got to be strong at some level,
definitely.
And non-judgmental too.
Oh yeah, I think that
just leave everything open. It is what it is. Don't try to change it.
What do you need to do to prepare yourself?
Oh, this is a good one. I've been trying to prepare.
I mean, is it medically? You have to prepare medically?
I think that we're pretty okay in that.
Yeah.
Do you need to though?
You need to be well.
But you need to have
it would probably be wise to look at each country and see what some of the more challenges were health-wise. Like you can really get quite sick with the food still. I've been really sick. So
we'll change the food. We'll do that anyway.
And especially for our volunteers who go to South India, the curries just blow your head off. If you like good curries, South India, I can send you to South India. but I tell you, they will blow your head off. But if you don't mind having your head and everywhere else blown off, South India, but
no. So medically, you need to
you've got to maybe check in with the doctors, get a regular health.
Yeah. What about COVID in these countries? What's happening?
It has been really, really difficult and very challenging there because numbers live in smaller buildings. at some level, COVID, I know you may disagree with me, some of you that are listening and watching, but there are countries where people really actually died and really suffered. I know that in India, many of our nuns and brothers and priests were working in hospitals because the medical staff walked out. But at the same time, we lost over 1,000 sisters.
Wow, really?
So people go, you can lightheartedly, people go, what do you do? Well, 1,000 of our sisters died. Of our nuns died assisting people. So people, the COVID thing's moved a bit now.
But in these third world countries, if that's what the right word to use, are they getting vaccinated or not?
Well, see, this is the thing too. Like, we have the privilege of free vaccinations here, but I was paying for the vaccinations in Sri Lanka. And like I said, I couldn't pay for everyone.
No.
It's just impossible because we're a small organisation looking for donations. If you look at our Franciscans at Across Charity.com.au, you can donate to our work. But I was, and it was like, it wasn't cheap. It was $70 or something.
Terrible.
Wow.
So, I got some of the main people,
hard,
but
who do you choose?
That's the hard thing about this work. Like I say, we cannot, we cannot save everybody.
No.
We're not even there to save everybody.
No.
We're there to be a gift to the ones we meet.
Of support.
In the moment we meet them. And that's all we can be. And that's all you guys can be when you travel too. Like, you will, at some level, be overwhelmed by everything, but come back into your room, meditate, do some breathing, play your didge, do some music, and then just settle back into it and go, right, okay, we've got another day. Because in Sri Lanka, we've got some real hardship up in the tea plantation areas. The whole story and history around what the British, did with that's really shocking. But and they're suffering now. But like, you'll encounter that. Right, what can I do in this moment? And then you come back and you go, okay, have a good sleep. I'm going to have a good breakfast, and I'm going to go and encounter it again. And that's the only way I can cope myself.
Where do you stay? And do you finance yourself?
No. Well, we do to get over there.
Yep.
But once we get there, then I gather we get looked after and fed. And then we go out and do our thing, So,
and you've got a base to come back to.
And it's always within the area of the
foundation.
Okay, yeah.
They look
so
after.
It's secure, it's safe area.
Yeah, but then with all that, we're not going out there with that fear thing.
You can't.
I've trekked through the Himalayan mountains and other things now. Yeah. So you go there and you really believe that we're going out there to do that. The fear part we don't want to know about,
No.
Okay, cautious, yes, but the other part is all about just opening ourselves up to what comes, because this time of our lives we're looking at us growing as people, as a person, and we won't do it sitting watching TV.
I agree.
Wasn't it you were saying the other night? No?
Oh, the other night.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was probably about a month or two back. I said, well, if we're going to sit around, we might as well volunteer.
I agree.
Yeah, and then
I agree.
This is what I mean about the synchronicity and all that. And then up pops Brother Francis, we want volunteers. And I went, here? We were going to go here. Let's go there and volunteer.
Because you were at a crossroads when I last spoke to you.
Yeah.
So this has sort of happened since then, right? So it's given you a direction already.
Yeah.
I've known John for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've been Facebook friends for a while, and I've watched him. I've watched what he writes, images and everything that go through. And then it was like, oh, wow, this is just, this is great. So, and we're calling for volunteers now. But like I keep on, and I'm going to keep on repeatedly saying, we can now support it. So, John, they'll be staying at the Franciscan convent in Sri Lanka, Nuwa Elia. That's where our work is, Nuwa Elia, which is just beautiful for those of you that have ever seen it, heard of it, or even thought of it. And they'll stay there. They'll stay in the convent. They'll have their meals. And Father Michael will take them by bus up into the tea plantation areas. So I'm conscious of the fact that it needs to be pleasant too for people that are volunteering. You need to have it. You're going to enjoy the food. You're going to enjoy meeting different people. You're going to enjoy the scenery. Beautiful waterfalls through the lakes. That beautiful train ride from New Orleans to
one of the most picturesque in the world.
One of the most picturesque. So I want it to be fun too. I want them to enjoy it. They're not missionaries. They're not religious. They're not priests. They're not doing it from that space. They're doing it from another space. And so we sort of make the package a little more fun for them.
It sounds very rewarding.
For all of you that come on board, I'd like it to be.
And also for us, I've known Brother Francis for 15 years, maybe more. So I know what he stands for. I know the person he is. So I feel comfortable coming into his umbrella, his protection, whatever, because I know him. It's funny, the first time I met him, we were at a
multi-faith.
And he drives up in Fremantle. It looks like out of a movie, but this type on a scooter. He had this cute scooter, and he used to drive around Fremantle in that.
People used to laugh at me. I used to ride around in my habit on a little red scooter, and everybody laughed. But one of the things I keep on saying to people is, I'm well known. People know me, and that's
for
important
the right
because I'm in community. I live in a community.
Very much so.
If you weren't doing your job, no one would know you. Would they?
So we're in a good place. There's, like I've said to people, there's been no scandal associated with our work or any comment which is people go, wow, we've heard about what you do and it's beautiful what you're doing, and keeping that there is really important. So I've got to be a bit smart with who I can send to represent us. But we do sit within a church structure. It's not an independent thing.
No.
Doing its own thing. We have the support of a tremendous board of men and women who are just wonderful in the support they give me. We also have, we're underneath the spiritual direction of Archbishop Donald Sproxton. He's the auxiliary bishop for the diocese. So you can't just wander around as you like, doing what you want. The conversations would come in and you would really have nowhere to go.
Exactly.
And I'm not a one-man band. I'm not. So I want the Catholic community to know that we're established within, the church. We're a lay Franciscan community, though. We're not a community of priests. We're a community of lay Franciscans, and this gives us the opportunity. We can even have married lay Franciscans. I've got in Tanzania, Brother Lesso and his wife and their little one. They're part of our foundation too. So you don't have to be single. You can be married, you can have a family and still be part of our work.
Which is different from Catholics, obviously.
No, it's just different in terms of the way the rules are aligned. With the more monastic lives, the members of the community take very strong vows of celibacy, of deep poverty, and then of obedience to the church. When I wrote the constitution for our work in India some years ago, it just actually flowed out of me. I sat with an 85-year-old nun, and the constitution just flowed out. And the first thing I wanted was to make our work simple. So it's a life of simplicity. So I say to people, try to, and simplicity's got many measures to it. It can be, you can live in a mansion and still be simple, right? And then the next one was charity, to have a spirit of giving. And then the third one was not just following of God with how God wants to lead you, but your own spiritual heart wants to lead you. Be faithful to that. And it just ignited itself. People just said it and saw it and went, wow. And our next step was to establish religious congregations. That's been put out there too for me to do. But at the moment, we're a lay Franciscan community. We're all men. And
how many of you are there?
Well, when you look at numbers, it's always fascinating when I look at numbers. There's, like, in terms of how you represent people, I would say this community, there's only me that's taken the habit, but I would have, quite a few people that would identify with the Franciscan spirit and support me in the work. And they're not even Catholic, many of them, but they say, we love what you do. We're here for you. Here's the webpage for free. Here's the donations for the work. We come to the fundraising events. We buy your art that you're not very good at. You know, so it's like, I get it.
They're very dedicated.
In Kenya, we've got 6. Actually, it's really interesting. We've had 6 new men join us who would like to wear the habit and be identified within the congregation. That's really interesting. I was talking to Brother Wilson in Pakistan today. He'd like to wear the habit and make his life a bit richer and deeper. Brother Turkey with his little community. And in Sri Lanka, we've got, I think, 30 lay pastors, Father Michael, and then we've got the volunteers. So,
well, what do you have to do to get the habit? What do you have to do?
The habit's a real journey too.
Yeah.
Like
Years?
Pardon?
Years?
No. It's the Franciscan way of life is not as, it's not like 7 or 8 or 9 years for the priesthood. And each foundation can sort of, through its own constitution, identify how it does it. So what we've done for ours is, it's like, if you wanted to wear the habit of a Franciscan, you possibly need to be within the Catholic community. You need to be baptised and confirmed. You need to have some sort of identity with it. You would then sort of say to me, I'd like to journey towards that. And then what we do through just sharing and history on St. Francis, history on the church, maybe some theological studies could be helpful. I did mine at Notre Dame. Eventually you'd come to a place where because this really is about letting go of everything. It's hard to wear a habit. It's hard to stay with it because you constantly, like, I'd love a new car. Who wouldn't? I'd love a fabulous car, but I drive a little, $2,500-3,000 thing. But it's about being Franciscan.
That's right.
I'd love to wear, at some level, really expensive clothes that I end up in the op shop wearing. So you're constantly being asked to surrender, to give away your ego all the time. And I'm very egotistical, if people know that, but it's about surrendering, giving away. But doesn't mean give your money to me, all right? Give it to the foundation. Got to give your money away, because we do have a need for finances still, even though it's all about money. I'd say everybody that. But I'm looking for volunteers to go overseas.
It's all about volunteers.
And I'm looking for women, particularly, to support our work here in Fremantle.
What sort of commitment do you require for the Fremantle side of it?
For Fremantle, it would need to, the face of the community here would be women, but there could be men working within the foundation as well. What we do here is, I have and I would like again to establish a space where women and their children could come, a safe place just for women, and then through the group that would run that, underneath our code of conduct, our policies, they would be able to go like, oh, welcome, you had a cup of tea, we got soup on, the kids can play there, and by the way, are you sleeping rough? You got a place to stay? Are you in a good relationship with your partner? Or it's about women that are have a heart to give their own time, and it could be just one afternoon a week.
That's what I was going to say. So the commitment is whatever they can offer.
It is whatever, like you could come in, if we had a space again, you could come in for like 2 hours, and sit with somebody. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have a qualification or a degree. But you need at some level to have a loving heart, and of any denomination, would be welcomed for that.
That's lovely.
And it is also, like I say to people, we're very practical. You can't say, isn't God wonderful, but you're starving. It's like God's wonderful and you're giving him a sandwich. That God goes together with the sandwich, the meat pie. It's or soup.
Good.
The love of God is seen in the service of what we do. And that's what St. Francis
rather than words.
Not
just words.
Not just words.
And what commitment will these guys have to give for their trip?
Well, the commitment for Jonathan will be, they'll need to, first of all, commit to doing the journey, right? And they sign their volunteer forms, which I witness, which says, right, we're on a journey, we're going to do it. They've heard all the stories that I've created and all the opportunities I'm creating for them, and then they go into the journey. And then their responsibility is to stay in it as much as they can, to be a gift in it, and then at the end of that time, when they come home, they'll be saying something like, what I want to hear is like,
I want to go back again.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Yeah, because we're not providing tourist buses on travel event. It's not an adventure tour.
No.
You know, I say that. It's going to be very challenging, because it's challenging for me. I don't know. Like, I come back and I go, oh, I don't know how I could get through tomorrow. But it's not all like that. There are, you know, lots of love. You form lovely friendships with the women. The women especially are very connected. The men are very connected. There's much more in these countries that we're established in. The energy between men and between women is much more loving.
Okay.
We're a little bit separated here because of our Netflix TVs and our YouTubing and our own private cars. People that don't have so much are in many ways more connected to their soul, heart, life, spirit. So and hopefully it just radically transforms both of them.
So you'll learn that.
And they learn why they did it. And they want to go again. You know.
Is there a minimum time that they have to be there?
Look, no.
Maximum?
I sort of say you would need to go to any of our communities for at least a week.
Oh, is that? That's not enough.
But they're going for 2 weeks to each, because remember, you have an impact on people too.
Of course,
You know, they've met you, they've seen you, they've looked at you, they've extended friendship to you, and hopefully you go, I'll be back. Give me a couple of years or so, and I'll come back. And you know, I've been seeing you. Like, how old are you now? 12. I'll be back. You know, sort of thing.
It's nice to be able to spend some time.
It's beautiful.
Drop in and drop out type thing. I don't want the drop in, drop out thing.
No.
It's not a whole.
And they'll assist, you know, when they come back here, they'll continue if they're here to assist our work in other little things too.
That sounds exciting.
They're part of the family, the Franciscan family.
That's really nice.
You know.
So have you signed the piece of paper to say
have you?
Not yet.
I told him not to do it for 2 weeks. I said, wait a little while.
Good idea.
Because you can also say no.
Yeah.
You know, like God's never about having to do it. So read it all, hear me, see what you think.
Talk about it and really be sure this is what you want.
Brother Francis, I'm not really ready for this, and that's okay too. You know, absolutely.
That's fantastic. So how we'd have to wind it up. How would people get hold of you now if they want to volunteer? What's the best way?
Well, the best way to get me is if you see me around if you see me around Freo, just come and say hi. I often sit in coffee shops. I love sitting in coffee shops and chatting to people. I've met some of the most amazing people doing that, because I can't say hello to everybody. Look out. Go onto our website, franciscansofthecrosscharity.com.au, and you'll see our board, images of ourselves. You'll see me speaking, and you'll see what we do and what we're doing in what countries. You can send an email to me via that too, and meet me, and then begin your journey with me.
Sounds exciting.
However you'd like to do it.
Sounds exciting. It's wonderful. So please, anyone who's listening out there, please volunteer either locally, Fremantle, women or men. Or there's a chance for you to go.
And we've got a whole thing around, inclusivity. I want to mention too. Please, you know, like, don't see yourself. Everyone. I'm always saying, if everybody knew what a wonder they were, you don't see your wonder. That's the problem. It doesn't matter what label you have, sissy man, sissy girl, whatever. It doesn't matter. You are a unique gift, and I am prepared to give you an opportunity to be part of our gift. And I've had a lot of I have problems with that from other people. They say, you can't take that person, and that person you can't do. And I go, well, really, you know. So we have a very open, huge welcoming door to invite you into. So don't worry. Even with those sorts of nails and that purple hair, you'll be really cool. Where will we send you? Maybe like in Tanzania. We've got a beautiful school in Tanzania.
They got colour out there, don't they?
Yeah, Brother Lester, I might be sending Spanish to her partner.
Yeah, it sounds great. And as I've said,
and your partners can be male or female.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah,
doesn't matter.
No, he's male. We've been together for 35 years, so it's been a while. But I think
you might want to go on your own somewhere. Then.
It's his birthday today. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, but no, I think it's a great idea.
Or somebody different.
That time, no. But I think it's a wonderful idea. I think because, as you said before, we get to an age where we've lived our life, we've had our homes, we've had our children, they've all gone off and done their own thing. We've become complacent with life.
And you're only 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like you're saying this in your 90s.
I know.
You've got
years to go. But you sort of have, you feel, media tells us we finished our lives at 6.
Nonsense.
But what I'm trying to say is that at our age, we want to do more for other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on doing that, we're learning more about ourselves at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, don't watch the movie. Don't sit there watching the movie,
and
Netflix the movie.
Because that's all rubbish.
Put yourself into the movie.
Into life.
Yeah,
into life. Yeah. That's the thing.
And if you guys do go,
we are going.
I want to have feedback. I want to have feedback from you guys. I want you to check in, even when you're away. Maybe send us some messages and stuff. We'll check in with you because I really would love to know what's going on. Yeah. And with yourself, I will post on to my page and to IPL's page about you needing volunteers.
Yep.
Is there anything we can help with? And I'm happy for you to come in anytime if you want to have a chat.
Great.
If you want to come in monthly, maybe you can talk about something.
Absolutely, I've got
lots
to talk
topic for that day.
Yeah,
a topic for that day would be fantastic.
Yeah. Because I do want to establish a congregation of men here too in the Franciscan, and either men or women. But I'd love to invite young Catholic men, Catholic women, into the possibility of becoming religious. Yeah,
consecrated. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. Really I think it's fascinating because I've never been. I'm Catholic, but I've never really been involved too much in their religion. My husband's family is staunch Catholic.
Yeah.
But I became a Catholic so that I could marry him.
Right.
I was Church of England before that. So I just find it fascinating to hear the journey that you're going on.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. But I've got a great life journey too. It started at 7. I'd love to come and share.
I wasn't sure.
You're going to be shocked to hear my journey.
I wasn't sure if I could ask about your past.
I know I look holy, but I'm
not. You've got to have fun somewhere. But I really would love to hear that side of the story.
I've got a great life journey.
So we'll have to leave it there though. But I would love to hear that.
You.
Definitely. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
You're very
Yeah, say something nice now.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
No, really. You're very easy to get along with. I feel your heart. You've got a big heart. You've got a big heart, and I really want to just give you a big hug, which I will in a minute. Thank you guys for coming in. It's really good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great.
And we'll have to organise that sound thing as well. I'm going to go over to a song because my time here is just about to finish. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Time for a song.